Hey, what's up everyone? Jay here, S3 Tint Bolt, tinting this beautiful BMW X3. Fantastic looking car. I was never actually a fan of BMWs growing up. I actually thought they were really boring. I know some of y'all might be freaking out, but I really thought it was kind of a boring car. The interior especially. The interiors were just so bland and lame, and while everybody else was doing fancy things with lots of buttons and stuff, BMWs remained stale. But the performance I hear is very nice, but I don't really care all that much about that. So we will be getting this car to be looking less like a mom car and more of a boss car. So we're gonna be putting 5%, actually gonna be putting 20% on these rear windows to get them down to about 5. And then I'm gonna be putting a 5 on the front side windows. So let's do it. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about two things. One of the things I'm going to be talking about is the differences between a website and a landing page. And the differences might not be what you think they are. And then on the next part of this, I'm going to be talking about the differences in films and the difference in film manufacturers, or should I say more clearly, film brands. Let me get started. I am already 30 minutes behind, so I'm gonna talk and go. Sometimes talk while I go. Having a conversation with the customer, I let them know that it is a problem just to not expect the most perfect install because the vehicle is so dirty, and yeah, I mean, you can see it there. And so there's a lot of dust and contamination all over this vehicle. And so I was telling the customer, I can't guarantee that the job is going to be as clean as the standards that I'm used to. He's bringing his second vehicle to me. His first vehicle was a beautiful 2024 BMW M4 convertible. Very beautiful car. This is his second car, but he forgot to clean it. I'm asking him actually if he's open to just having me drive this vehicle to go wash it so I can tint it and have the best cleaning experience as possible. Sweet, and he's good with that. So I'm gonna go do that. I probably won't film it, and then I'll be back to finish recording this video when the car is nice and clean. See you guys in a bit. Sorry, I'm back. Now I'm in a rush. We're gonna speed through this. This time we're behind because I went to go wash the customer's car. It is a little bit better, but nothing serious. It was just a quick 5-minute wash, spray down. I already taped the sides, as you can see. Windows are ready to be rolled up. Film is ready to be installed. However, I'm in a rush now because somebody else has just booked for a front window install. But yeah, so we're gonna speed through this because we have another customer coming in for 4 o'clock. And now I have less than 3 hours to tint this car. I can do it, but we want a good job, right? So what I was doing there, because the customer said they wanted 5% all around, they just really wanted it to be dark in the back, and they wanted 5% on the front. So my recommendation was if they want to just get it 5% all around, because we're tinting on factory, the way I can do that is by tinting the rear windows with 20%. The rear is 20% and the front will be 5%. So what I'm saying is I'll add on 20% on the rear and then put 5% on the front, and that will make it so that it looks like 5% all the way around. And the reason why that calculates down to 5% all around is because if the rears are close to roughly 20%, then adding on a 20% will drop it actually to roughly 4% if you do the math. And I think that math is correct. So by putting 20% on his factory and 5% on his front, it'll all look 5%. Yeah, know what I mean? That is actually part of the conversation we want to talk about. One of the things we want to talk about, which is what is the difference between films. So the reason why I want to talk about this today is because I had a customer text and ask, what brand do you carry? Now, I thought that this is an interesting question, but I understand why people would ask it because customers don't know any better. So yeah, I don't know any better. You think that there's a difference in brand, but there really isn't actually, because there's really about, roughly, depends on I guess who you ask, but roughly 4 to 5 major manufacturers that make the film for all of the brands that you see out there. When you're really asking about brand, we can tell you that film might be good, But to think in your head to compare it to another brand, for example, that would be the mistake that you make, right? So the manufacturer, actually, the brand, it matters. Like if you've attached yourself to a certain brand, it does matter, of course. I'm not saying that it doesn't matter, because the manufacturer for that brand is actually what you like. So that's the dialogue over different types of brands. What's the difference then about carbon, dyed film, and ceramic? I tier them. I put them in tiers. Your dyed film is actually going to be at the very bottom. Your carbon film is going to be middle ground, and your ceramic is la crème de la crème. It's the top dog, okay? It offers the most protection against the negative rays of the sun. Your ultraviolet, obviously, and infrared are the most dangerous rays that's coming out of the sun. Ceramic does an excellent job, better than all the rest, at rejecting infrared. And that's really what you'll be looking for. So when you say what brand, the better question is to understand the different rejections of the films instead of the brand. So ask questions such as, what is the total energy rejection? This is the technical term. You can find another way that's easier for you to say, but the total solar energy rejection is a number that we tinters pay attention to. The IRR, the infrared rejection, is another number that we pay attention to. And then the VLT, the visible light transmission. So that's the kind of questions that you should ask instead. So that answers that. The answer is the question of, what brand do you use? Like S3 Tint, we use RP Films now. I don't know that we'll continue to use RP Films in the long run. I hope so, but I'm not sure about the future of RP Films here in Canada. ASWF is another option here in Canada, especially in Alberta, because there's a supplier right in up north from me, which is in Edmonton. But now that this is done, let me get back to this. I think what's gonna happen with the other customer that's gonna be dropping the vehicle off at 4 o'clock, I probably will only have an hour to actually do it. We'll see if I'm way behind. Let's put this puppy up here. I don't want to remove this, and so I don't need to, because the top lays down flat on the glass. I don't actually need to worry too much about the shrink, because it sits nicely on the glass. So I know the top is not fully shrunk because this is too high up. So when I'm installing it, I have to remember that. Now, I'm gonna fix it into its position. And now I'm going to put it back correctly. I'm gonna start with the top, obviously, so I can slide it in there. All right. There we go. It's very tight up there. Barely goes all the way up. Just enough for my lining to clear the bottom. Bring my fingers down to the bottom, away from the sides, down to the bottom. Yeah, so that looks about right. So the back here is dark, probably sitting at 3-ish%, while the front is sitting at 5%, so, or 5-ish%. So let's shrink the sides. And then after this, I'll talk about the differences between a landing page and a website. Okay, so I just decided, so I'm not rushing. I hate rushing. I hate it so much because I can't do the best work that I possibly can. So I just messaged the customer who I was rushing for. And so I just asked them if they can come in another time because I don't think I'll be done in time. That way I can slow it down, I can take my time, and I can also make this video. I'm not out here chasing guap. I'm not chasing money. I'm trying not to chase money, at least. So let's finish this, and this way I can actually have a decent conversation about the differences between a landing page and a website. So differences between landing page and website. Now, some people would say that a landing page and a website are the same. And those people would be correct. A landing page and a website is the same thing, because actually a landing page is a website, but a website isn't necessarily a landing page. All landing pages are websites, but not all websites are landing pages. To explain that further, what is a website? A website is let's call it a property or an asset or an object on the internet. It's really a bunch of code that goes through a build process and is constructed into a language that your browser can understand and feed back to you. It lives on a server, and when you go to the website, s3tint.com, tintbolt.com, you know what I'm saying? You are actually calling or fetching that website from a server. That is the website that shows up to you. That's a web site. Every website, traditional website or brochure style website, has the homepage. Every website has a homepage, and then it has other pages like an About Us page or a services page or a blog page. They all have pages attached to them. Traditionally, actually, the homepage is the landing page. A landing page being the page you landed on. And then we started to take that homepage and just make it by itself. So it was now a standalone landing page. It was just a landing page, just the page you landed on, which was the homepage. And then after a while, some savvy marketing experts and probably maybe potentially website developers started to look at different pages for a website that customers would land on. So you would have a page for a certain type of service, and it's still part of the actual website. It's just no longer in the navigation, and it's just a site that only for the purpose of a person landing on. So a landing page. That's how the historical line of landing pages came about. It's a single page website generally, or a single page that doesn't have really much navigation and stuff. It's built for one purpose, and that's to convert you, the customer. So that's the main differences between that's the website, and then that's how a website or a landing page came out of the website. So you can see now that a landing page is a website. You can't defer a landing page from a website, because our landing pages are websites. Sad to say that I canceled the booking because I thought I wasn't gonna be done in time, and it turns out I'm done in the same amount of time it would have taken me to otherwise do this car. But yeah, anyways, this car is done. So, hope y'all learned something. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.